Right, you beautiful motherfuckers. It's the Snapchat Q&A time. It's Friday night. I'm recording it late, but we're having a beer. Let's get in the fucking mixer. There's only about 27,000 questions, so we will go as long as we have to, if we can. If it starts looking like it's going to be near an hour, I can't do it because my phone won't process it. But if you've asked me a question, there's a very good fucking chance you're going to get it seen answered. Right, first one, straight off the bat. Tibbsy. There we go. Do you see Pogba as a mixture of Vieira and Zidane, the presence and power of Vieira, and the skill and technical game of Zidane? I don't think he's as defensively aggressive as Vieira was. I think that's a little bit of a lazy comparison. But the more and more I watch of the plays, the identical plays, there's now 2 videos that I've seen which are identical plays between Pogba and Zidane. The more you just have to go, actually, are we underrating this kid quite a lot? Because at 23 years of age, at 23 years of age, Zidane was not Zidane. Pogba's had an excellent education in the game so far. A couple of years at United under Fergie, despite not really getting a chance by Fergie, but then also moving on to Juventus, where he's learnt to win back-to-back championships. And technically, fantastic. He's got an eye for the stunning like Zidane does. He's got the confidence and the arrogance to try things that perhaps he probably shouldn't really be trying. I think you're hugely underrating him. I think those people who watch only the highlights of him and say, "Oh, he's a Vine player," you're going to be fucking shook up. This guy's got a first touch of a dream. He was misused by Deschamps in the Euros, big time by France. They did not play to his strengths. I hope Mourinho plays to his strengths. You've got to free the guy. You've got to let him do what he can. That's why I want to see him partnered with somebody like Herrera, because Herrera's energy and movement will drag players out and create space. But then you've also got to pair him with somebody like a Schneidlin to do the dirty work and the donkey work behind him. And I think that'd be an excellent 3 if you could play all 3 together. You could play Herrera alongside him as the advanced midfielder, giving and going constantly. I can see those two hitting plenty of 1-2s. Pogba driving forward with the ball at his feet. His dribbling's great for a man of his size. But then you're freeing him up to do whatever he wants to do, to be honest, by having Schneidlin do the pure graft behind him. I think people, once you clap eyes on him and start watching him off the ball, when you start really watching him, because when you're watching on TV in the Euros and stuff like that, you're following the ball, the camera's following the ball, but I think you get to really see a player when you can sit there and watch him. There's a reason why scouts are sent to watch live football and they don't watch it on the TV, because the TV and the commentary and the replays, they skew your perception sometimes. So I think we're going to see in the first 5 or 6 appearances of Pogba, actually, do you know what? We're probably all massively underrating how good this kid really is. We've got a gem. We've got an absolute gem. I'm so excited. We don't get this signing. We've never signed this signing. In my entire life watching Manchester United, we never signed this. Ruud van Nistelrooy was not this level of signing. Rio Ferdinand at the time was not this level of signing. Ronaldo definitely wasn't. Rooney definitely wasn't. He was an exciting kid, but never was this exciting. He became maybe this exciting, and if someone else had signed him when he was 22, I could maybe understand their thinking that, oh my God, we've got an absolute gem here. United have never signed this. I mean, you can say Veron, but yeah, Veron looked incredible before he came, but this level, I don't think it was this level. Do you know what? Fucking spent about 5 minutes on that already, haven't we? Let's blast into the next one. So, Rodney Nesh 4 says, how do you see the British teams faring in the Champions League, and how about our hopes in the Europa League? Can Atletico Madrid do it again, get to the final, or even win the whole thing? I think Simeone's probably the best manager in the game at the moment. Yes, they probably could do it again. But it's tough for him, isn't it? Because they're a side that can't really buy big, and sometimes to be at the top, you've got to both buy big, recruit well, scout well, and bring through your own players and stuff like that. That's how it's been done for virtually every team that's ever done it. So it's going to be tough for them. How do I see the British teams going in the Champions League? I don't know, to be honest. I don't know. I'm very interested to see how Leicester get on, because I think Leicester could shock people in Europe. I think they're going to fall off in the league. But I think they're going to shock people in Europe. I think that if they are true to themselves and they play the way they played last season in the Premier League, I think that's going to be too much to handle for a lot of European teams, because that is a culture shock, that style of relentless attacking that Leicester have got. So they could get found out, but I also think they're gonna shock more than they'll be shocked. I think I'm not going to say they're going to win the thing, but I think they'll exceed expectations and probably beat one big giant that nobody expected them to beat before eventually getting knocked out. But it'll be like, yeah, fair play. They did all right. They had a good go at it, sort of thing. Jamie Hunt says, why is Pogba suspended from the game? Supposedly about something in a cup match over in Italy. I didn't think suspensions carried over across leagues. I've never, ever noticed that, ever. So that's a new one on me. James Nutton, what's happening with Pereira? Honest view, please, mate. Well, I've never lied to you, mate. I would always give an honest view. I don't know what's happening with him. I have no idea what's happening with him. He's far too good for the 21/23 league. Not quite ready for first team. He needs that development season. Maybe a loan somewhere. Maybe the consistent opportunities off the bench. That's what every single player needs. It's an absolute rarity where someone is introduced to the fray in the fashion that Rashford was, and then just takes it and runs with it. Everybody needs a little bit of bedding in, a little bit of time to adjust, and then they need regular, consistent games so they can be less nervous each time they come out and more able to adapt to what's going on. But to do that, you generally need like a really settled team and a really settled club around them. You can't have the topsy-turvy turmoil that we've had across the league, really. That's probably why there's a lot of teams really struggling to get any sort of players through, English players through from the academy, because there's just too much going on. Pereira has undoubtedly got the ability. He just needs game time. Every young player from 18 to 21, you've got to play matches. You need 80 to 100 matches and shake off that rookie sort of label and become a footballer, become a professional footballer. That 100-game mark, I think that is so key to where and what you can become in your career. As we've seen with Paul Pogba, left at 18, played a lot of football, and on the back of that, was extremely successful. I think what's happened is, if anybody sent me a picture, because I'm only looking at these quite far back now, the pictures have disappeared. So if you sent me a picture, it's probably going to have gone unless you've sent it very recently. Oh, another one with a Pogba suspension. Who would I rather win the league this year, Liverpool or City? Christ. City, because they're expected to. Liverpool, if they won it after not having won it for so long, be unsufferable, wouldn't they? Matt Pennington says, what are your thoughts on a Pogba ban? Not like he would play Bournemouth anyway, so it's a nothing suspension. Do I think the Europa League will be taken seriously? I think Mourinho will take it seriously, yeah. The Pogba ban, I think he was a certainty to be in the squad and a certainty to get no more than 10-15 minutes. He was never going to start, but he was never going to sit on the bench and not come on. I think he would be the last sub and get 15, 5, 10 minutes, something like that. Johnny Bridge says, would you rather keep CBJ at the club as a backup left-back for this season and get rid of Rojo, or send him on loan to gain experience? Now, that is the conundrum, isn't it? Because if you keep him as a backup and Luke Shaw doesn't even pick up a sniffle throughout the whole season, then you've stagnated the development of Borthwick-Jackson. So you have to have a really fine balancing act between the needs of the side and the needs of the player to be developed. I think Borthwick-Jackson and Shaw are too close together in terms of age for them both to make it without injuries galore for both of them. And I don't want that for either of them. They're completely different styles of fullbacks. Borthwick-Jackson can also play centre-half. I think I like him better as a fullback. I like what he's got with the ball at his feet. It's a tough choice, and there's no right answer. You can't do it one way and then have a do-over to see what happens if you do it another way, and you can't predict if anyone's going to get an injury, if Luke Shaw has actually properly recovered. I mean, I don't think he's let Mahrez out of his pocket yet. We'll find out this weekend. Luke Shaw did an absolute number on him. It wasn't that Mahrez didn't turn up. Luke Shaw didn't let him turn up at weekend. Borthwick-Jackson's also got excellent defensive abilities, but he's also great with the ball at his feet. And it's an absolute conundrum, and there's no right answer. That's the problem. You got to just make a decision. And then B's back. Fucking B's are back. That's really annoying, isn't it? Hopefully it goes out the window. What an awesome YouTube video this is. 30 seconds of me getting absolutely dive bombed by a bee. Fuck it, we keep going. Right, Callum Rye says, what do I think of Mourinho stating Januzaj is in his plans? Surely is a better option than Young on the wing, who is still at the club. Well, considering he's gone on loan to Sunderland since you sent me this, I think that says everything we need to know, doesn't it? I think he'll probably do excellent for Moyes at Sunderland. Moyes is going to trust him. He's going to trust Moyes. Moyes will utilise him the way he knew that he was great. I think Januzaj could be a fantastic number 10. He's not really a winger for me. He's better in the middle. He's not really got blistering pace to go past people, but he has got wonderful balance, body positioning, a great pass on him, good shot from the centre. So I would definitely try and play him as a number 10, as a second striker almost, or as an attacking midfielder. The fact he wore number 11 is irrelevant. I think he's not really a winger. Not in that flying winger sort of sense anyway. If I could have any player, this is by Robbie 1872, if I could have any player past or present in the United squad, who would it be? For the sheer love, Cantona. For the sheer legend, I'd love to have seen how Duncan Edwards developed. There's a fan, is it in here? It's in the office. There's a book called The Greatest by James Layton, and it's emotional reading. It's brilliant. It's absolutely fantastic. And in there, they've taken the newspaper clippings from around the time, compared those to what they were saying about other players, and to try and get a gauge. Like, sometimes when you get people that die young, they can be elevated. They can be mysticised and they can be legendised, if that's even a word, beyond what they actually was. So he was saying, look, let's get an honest view of how good Duncan Edwards was. His nickname's The Greatest. Bobby Charlton says he's the only player that ever made him feel inferior. And this is a guy that played with Ballon d'Or winners, with Bobby Moore, with George Best, with Dennis Law. So if Bobby Charlton's saying it's the only player that ever made him feel inferior, and the newspaper reports of the time are talking him up in a certain way, which they do, and he explains how, and the comparisons that's been made to them all. And when you actually look into the stats, and I think he was playing around about 120 matches a season when you include first team for United, England, army games, because he was on national service during one of the years, like B matches, reserve, youth, all the rest of it. 120 odd games in a season he was playing. And the train travel and all the rest of it wasn't the fast Virgin Rail first class stuff that we're getting now. You can imagine it was like long, slow 4 days to get somewhere. Rattlers. Nutrition wouldn't have been great and all the rest of it. So the deduction that he comes to is that Duncan Edwards' potential and abilities were ridiculously good. And he thinks he would have been captain in 66 and that we probably would have gone on and won another World Cup. Or another couple of World Cups, I think he might have said. Recommended reading, and that would have been a player whose potential I'd love to see us fulfill. But again, there was other players that passed away in Munich that, when you read about how good they was, that you go, I'd love to have seen these guys as well. Coleman being the one that sticks out in my head the most. Next one, Joshua UK says, when Mourinho inevitably leaves, who would your dream manager be? Pochettino? ? Struggling to get the light right on these at the moment, I'm afraid. Pochettino's a name that's got to be in the hat, and as I've said a few times, if I was in charge of anything at United at the moment, one of the things I would be doing is identifying a shortlist of managers, interviewing them, prioritising them, finding out what their philosophies are, when they would be ready to take over, should we need to, because the clock starts ticking on Mourinho from the second that he is appointed. So good preparation would be to prepare for the worst and hope for the best, wouldn't it? Hope that he stays for a decade and he's wildly successful, but go, actually, there's probably a 24 to 36 month expiry date on this, and it would be prudent of us to plan around that worst case scenario, because it doesn't seem like Manchester United board at the moment does anything that's pre-planned. It seems like everything that we do is reactionary. Jack Bryden. Can't open it. Would I take Raphael back at United? And where does Memphis fit in the team? Name is Jod. Jod Veer. Can't. God, the light is killing me on this one tonight. Yeah, I would take Raphael. Fucking love him. Where does Memphis fit into this team? I think you might see him earlier than expected, because Marshall doesn't look like a happy chappy at the moment. And I think Mourinho might go, do you know what? Memphis is chomping at the bit. certain style of play really suit him. The attacking, counter-attacking, get the ball in behind the defence. What's the worst that could happen? Jack Walker 99 says, in your opinion, was Fergie the best manager ever? I think he was. He never didn't deliver. I find it amazing he could motivate players season on season. I think what makes Fergie, clearly biased, the best ever, if not, he's in a conversation at least, is his ability to change the team on the fly and maintain their success. We've seen Arsene Wenger have to go through transitions, and we've seen Manchester United at the moment going through transitions from one team to another, one era to another, one class to another. And what Fergie did was pretty much be able to transition those sides while maintaining success. So from 1990, really, from like the first year I started going as a 6-year-old, all I ever knew was success. Like, we won the European Cup Winners' Cup in 91 after winning the FA Cup in 90, 92 in the Rumbelows Cup, I think it was called at the time, the League Cup. Then we win the Premier League, then we win a double, then we win nothing, then we win a double again. And it just seemed to be like, this is how it goes on. And it takes you until, at least because of the era I grew up in, it takes you into your late teens, early 20s to go, actually, that's pretty fucking spectacularly amazing what we achieved there. But it was the norm as I was growing up. I only ever knew that. And when you consider that, the team that started that decade in 1990 looked nothing like the team that lifted the Premier League in 1993. Nothing. There was 3 or 4 players that was remnant from that 1990 FA Cup final. By the time we got to the second double in 1996, only 3 years later, that team was different again. We'd lost the likes of Mark Hughes, Paul Ince, Andrei Kanchelskis, and we had now blooded in the likes of David Beckham, Nicky Butt, Gary Neville. And we were starting to evolve into the team that would eventually win the treble in 1999. Again, only another 3 years later. So you're looking at 3-4 teams in one decade that are totally different in the way that they play the game and the way that they line up. By the time we got to 1999 and we've got York and Cole up front, we've found that ultimate midfield of Keane and Scholes. This bee's coming round again. It's going to come and get me in it. Why don't you just fly out the window? Ah. Oh, it got me. Bastard. Fucker. You got me. Oh, well. So, yeah, by the time we got to the 99 team with Scholes and Keane, I hope it's fucking dead now. With Giggs and Beckham, Jaap Stam in defence, we was again evolved. And then we evolved again with the 4-5-1 with Veron and Van Nistelrooy, and then we evolved again with the bringing in of Rooney and Ronaldo, and we evolved again after the successes of Chelsea and Mourinho's Chelsea in 04, 05, 06. We evolved it again to be the team that eventually wins the Champions League again in 2008 with a 4-3-3 with Hargreaves and Scholes and Carrick in midfield, and then Rooney, Tevez, Ronaldo up front. And he kept changing it, and then by the time he retired with... That's fucking itching. By the time he retired with RVP and Rooney up front and Chicharito coming off the bench, and it was masterful. I've never, ever, ever... Well, I've never known a manager stay for 25 years, 2.5 decades. But there's never been a manager that's been able to replicate that just sheer level of competitiveness across so long with so many different... It's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable achievement, what he did. And it's been a privilege to witness it. And I think United fans think we can still get there without understanding exactly how difficult and how special that was. And the competitiveness of the Premier League now is going to make anything like that hard. Even if we're going to be ultra... He's back again, the wanker. I nearly threw my iPad at him then. It's probably not a good idea, is it? Even if we are to be successful in this period, we're not going to have the ultra success of winning 3, 4, 5 titles in 4, 5, 6 years. That's going to be unheard of with the competitiveness of the league, providing that owners and chairman are relaxed enough to not sack a manager just for not winning the league. I mean, this is hurting, motherfucker. With the likes of Abramovich, it's a certainty, isn't it? But you would expect that with the amount of investment City have put into the fucking red carpet they've rolled out for Pep, that they're going to be a bit patient. You'd expect we're going to be patient because who the fuck do we go to after this? And you think some like Ranieri's not going to get sacked. He could get relegated and not get sacked now, you'd hope. Arsenal probably aren't going to sack Arsene Wenger, are they? So Spurs might not sack Pochettino. So you've got to hope. I mean, Liverpool are in love with Klopp as well. So you've got to think someone's going to get sacked. But who's going to get sacked? This is the madness of this season. There's far too much competitiveness and there's far too much... it's chaos in it. Let's find another one. Who do I expect / want to see as our next manager? Oh my god. Everyone's got the same thinking, haven't they? Lucas, 2001. All-time 11 United plus 4 subs. Christ. That's like about an hour and a half worth of video with sources, presentations and 4 guest speakers. If that's too long to answer, then do you think the money involved in the Premier League nowadays stops any team from having a major downfall like Portsmouth, Leeds, Bolton, Blackpool, etc.? Yeah, because I think Leeds gambled on the ITV Carlton thing, if I remember correctly, and then it went tits up. They didn't get ITV Digital, I think it might have been. ITV Digital Carlton, something along those lines. They didn't get the money, and they went completely tits up. Semi-finalists to League One. How's that for banter? Alex Wild 14 says, Brock ever fighting in the UFC again? Wouldn't rule it out. But I think after popping for gear, probably unlikely. Don't you think we need another centre-back? Bonucci, Miranda, etc. Smalling, Blind, Rojo will not be good enough for the squad. All the way from Paris. Nice to have you. I would say yes, but I think we're being a little bit greedy. The phenomenal business that we've just done in this window, we have to say, look, can't fix everything in one window. Let's roll with what we've got at the moment. Blind and Smalling's not the worst thing in the world. Certainly not the best thing in the world. But it could be far worse, couldn't it? Lucas Small says, we've got all these young lads coming through like Tuanzebe, Gomez, etc. But realistically, how many of the young players coming through the ranks do you honestly think will get chances coming through? Not too sure that many will with the money about nowadays. That's it. That's the nightmare. That's the absolute nightmare. We've got 3, arguably 4 with Timbo, arguably 5 with Borthwick Jackson. Centre-halves at the club that are 17 and 18. Like, how the fuck do you fit all of them into the team at once when there's 2 slots for first-team players and you're looking at like 1 slot on the bench at once in a blue moon for an academy graduate that's just coming through? It's difficult, but you've got to harvest the academy and you've got to build the academy as if, I don't know actually, I was going to say that you've got to build it like all of them are going to come through, but then I think that's so unrealistic that you probably shouldn't be building it with the idea that all of them are going to come through. Maybe you should say 3 or 4 in each class should be the focus of each team, but then how do you make that decision? How do you recruit thinking we've already got 3 or 4 class ones? Do we not go for the top? No, I think you have to recruit the best you can recruit and then hope 2 or 3 of them are given the opportunity. And it's extremely wasteful, but I don't know of a better way to do it. It's I actually think that the money involved in football should spur more teams to put more investment in their academies. Now, can you imagine Newcastle, Sunderland, Villa, Everton especially, with what they've just seen happen with John Stones? Why would they not be putting in the sort of money they would spend on a transfer for like a real average? I mean, the average price for a Premier League player now, I think it's 30 million. You phone up the phone and they want a player and it's 30 million. I've not even said who I want yet. All right, okay, go on then. Yeah, 30 million. I think with the average price of each player being that, if you can sell 1 player every season, that's going to pay for the academy for shit. Might even pay for it for a decade. So if you can look to be selling 1 every other season or something like that, then you're going to have a lucrative academy. For some of these lower level clubs, that could be a fucking goldmine. And maybe the Premier League's got too much TV money, but maybe the Championship level team should be looking to do that. If you can produce a £30 million player, if you can make it club policy that you have 3 academy players on the bench, or 3 or 4 in the 5 in the match day squad, so your manager's filling the bench up with them, maybe as also runs, but when somebody gets injured and someone needs an opportunity, he's got to throw an academy player in, just because that's the sat on the bench, which will mean more emphasis goes into recruiting and training these lads to be good enough to play in the first team, but it also means that these lads will be given a lot more opportunities. And maybe that's the way that these clubs should offer, because, look, not everyone can be Man United. Not everyone can be Real Madrid. Not everyone can be Bayern Munich. There's levels to everybody, and you should always strive to be the best you can be, but some clubs need to think, our space can just be bringing in English youngsters, that we move on to other clubs. Be a feeder club for United. Be a feeder club for Spurs. That in itself is a recruitment tool for young lads wanting to come through your academy, and ultimately you get better materials at the bottom level. You're going to be more successful at the top level. It's simple. I don't know why more don't do it. I don't know why every one of these owners, it could be ego, it could be anything, but every one of these owners takes over and is like, I'm going to get us in the Champions League. No, you're fucking not, mate. It's going to cost you what it's just cost Sheikh Mansour, a guy with an unlimited budget, to get City, to turn them from a Wigan or an Everton into someone that's now sat at the top table thinking they're Billy Big Dick. So some managers, some owners need to have a reality check. There's not enough room for everybody at the big table. Please give a quick shout out to Dundalk FC in the Champions League. Yes, I meant to do it the other week actually. Big congratulations for them. League of Ireland fucking smashing it. Fair play to them. Let's hope they get all the way through into the draw. That'd be absolutely fucking fantastic for them, wouldn't it? Especially on the back of the Boys in Green success-ish this summer. Excellent to see. Well done, lads. Lukey Nev 98. What do I think of the new each of the new signs will bring to the table? Bay's been a bit of a shock. Zlatan's going to bring leadership and goals. Pogba's going to bring fucking trophies on his own. Mkhitaryan's going to surprise everyone with just how good he is. Oisin H99 says, what lies ahead for Ravel Morrison? Favourite memory under the post-Ferguson era? Fuck me, there's not a lot of them, is there? Lighting's hanging in it. Sorry, really bad. I actually don't even know where Ravel Morrison is at the moment. Is he still at Leicester? I know a friend of a friend. I've been trying to get someone to speak to him because I want to talk to him, because I think he'd be the ultimate podcast guest, wouldn't he? Because I don't think he's got a filter, and I think he would say some banger shit. Just can't get hold of him. I don't even know where he is. Favourite memory in the post-Ferguson era? It might be Evra's goal in Munich. It might be Marshall's goal in the FA Cup semi-final, in all honesty, or against Liverpool. Trying to think. So we had first season under Moyes. There was not a lot of great memories. And the first season under Van Gaal, there was not a lot of great memories. There's not been many, has there? There's been maybe 3. I think we'll make more this year that eclipse all of those. I'm hoping so anyway. Danny Boy 18 says, who do I think will be the top scorer and top clean sheet in the Premier League this season? Ooh. I think Harry Kane will be in with a shout for top scorer. What are we on? 27 minutes. I think we'll concede goals this year more than we did last year. So I'm not inclined to say Big Dave. I don't know. That's why we got to do it, innit? That is why we've got to do it. So let's find out. G95 Snap says, as we've seen attitude problems develop with Januzaj, Pereira and Morrison in the past amongst others, do you think that attitude problems can be coached out, or is it entirely up to the player themselves and possibly the agent? I think people are fucking people, and people come to jobs and people come to sports teams fully formed human beings, and fully formed human beings are in every different fucking flavour in the world, aren't they? And for every kid that we've got who is... I don't want to use any of the youngsters that we've got at the moment. Let's just say the Beckhams that are obsessive, that will stay behind after training and fire crosses in, which is what I'm hearing about Memphis as well, to be honest. I hear Memphis puts the graft in and does additional training as well, which I love. Oh, shit, who was it? Tyler Blackett. Tyler Blackett was getting Nicky Butt to come in and just do one-on-one defensive work with him. That's why I've always had a lot of time for Tyler Blackett and thought he could develop into something, because when you hear that a player's got the hunger and desire, and he also trains out of Mick Clegg's lab over in Ashton, where he's working on strength and conditioning and agility and all sorts of stuff. That's a real elite training centre, performance centre, strength and conditioning centre, the lab as it's known. Mick's developed some really innovative shit that United have took for the last 15 years. So if you ever get a chance, go and check his website out. Speed of Science, I think, or Science of Speed, something like that. It is Mick Clegg anyway. Just search that. Brought to United because of Roy Keane in 2001. He helped Roy Keane with his rehabilitation after his cruciate ligament, and Roy Keane was like, this guy is the shit. Went on to work for the club for the 9 years, I think, after that. Left in 2009 or 2010, something along those lines, after seeing us lift the Champions League again. Worked with and developed Ronaldo. Has got some interesting things to say about Wayne Rooney and his physical developments and attitudes towards training, which probably should be researched. You can Google that. Go and Google it. As to what you're saying in terms of attitude problems being coached out and stuff like that, I don't know if you can. No. I mean, people say, oh, if Fergie had got hold of Gaza, wouldn't it have been different? No. It had probably just been fucked off after a year. Because Fergie couldn't change some of the already established drinking culture in Manchester United. He just sold them. He didn't. That was how he smashed it. He didn't change their attitudes and make them all do fucking yoga. He just got rid of them. Strachan, Whiteside, all of them. Like, he just fucked them off. I think Viv Anderson might have been one of them. Was he one of them? No, it might not have been Viv Anderson. The only one he didn't really get rid of was Rob or Mark Hughes, because they was performing on the pitch. I think if you didn't perform on the pitch, he was looking for an excuse to fuck you off. He had a ready-made excuse. Ravel Morrison was just nuts, and I think that would have happened wherever. And he's never hit the same heights in the first team as Gaza did, but I think there's parallels to be made between him and Gaza, not least because he ended up at Lazio. And it's a shame because what a fucking footballer he was. I mean, one of the first things he did on his debut in the United first team is just start fucking backheeling it everywhere. Confidence. All day, mate. Matty Cardi, 123, says, who's the top four? And do I think the title is out of two Manchester teams this season? No. I think Chelsea are in the mix. I think Kante is hugely underrated, and I think Conte is hugely underrated. Chelsea's a team that won the title 12 months ago, so they're going to be there or thereabouts. They've still got Hazard, they've still got Oscar, they've still got a lot of talented footballers at that club. Expect them to be in the mixer. Sam Morgan 3 says, Rooney's debut hat-trick versus Fenerbahce or Marshall's debut goal versus the Scousers? Fuck off, what a question. I think I've said it on camera. I actually nearly passed out when Marshall scored that goal. I think I held my breath and stood up at the same time and just got fucking lightheaded. I had to hold on to someone. I don't even think I celebrated it. I think I just stood up and went, but Rooney's debut hat-trick was breathtaking. I think I'll probably go with Rooney, to be honest. Probably go with Rooney because I don't think Marshall did a great deal. He had a couple of decent runs in that match, but he didn't really light it up the way Rooney did. Rooney, you was just like, oh my God, what have we got here? Curtis 1066. Pog Band, thoughts? Also the best haircut at the club, Chong. Yeah, definitely. Hearing amazing things about Chong as well. Still not seeing him with my own two eyes. Fucking can't wait to, and then I'll be able to give you all some information about him. But I'm hearing amazing things about Chong. Ira Hells says Blind and Pogba as a centre midfield partnership. I could see it working. I really could. You can play Blind alongside someone who's got the physicality of someone like Pogba because Blind definitely lacks in that region. But what he's got in terms of his mental game and also his passing range more than makes up for the fact that he's probably slower than me. Well, my thoughts on Sadio Mane, I think he's decent. Liverpool done well getting him. He's a good player, and one of my mates is a coach at Southampton, says he's a fucking top bloke, so I'm sickened that Liverpool have got someone who's a top bloke. I like to think of everyone at Liverpool as being an utter cunt. Lewis Benign, fucking hell, mate, I don't know how to say that. Hello, a London fan here. He's a fan of London. Do you believe that Pep will fight for the Champions League in his first season with City, and if so, their place in the league suffer significantly enough for us to finish up top? No. What my worry is that we go far in the Europa League. I don't really want to see us progress too far in the Europa League. I'd rather see it slightly fringe players, but I don't think that'll happen. City should hit the quarters as a minimum. I'll want to throw up in my mouth a little bit if they ever get to a Champions League final. They and we should really have the squad to be competing on all fronts, though, so there's not really much of an excuse, no matter who's there. We've got to fucking beat them in the derby. No ifs, buts, maybes. That's got to be 3 points to Man United, or can see the newspapers already, can't you? Anthony 9077 says Mourinho said that Januzaj is his plans for next season. Do you believe that or not? Obviously not, considering he's just gone on loan. I think what he's saying is he's trying to give the player a bit of encouragement as he leaves, saying that, you know, the door's still open there, because you still have to have communications. He's still an employee of the club. You still have to leave your options open, don't you? That you might need this kid one day, so you can't say, hey, fuck off, don't let the door hit you on the arse on the way out. You have to leave the door open and appear to be nice, and then you can change your mind at a later date if you need to be. Claude1 says, what are my thoughts on Callum Gribbin? I got a lot of abuse about Callum Gribbin scoring a goal the other day, but that's what Callum Gribbin does. He'll score a fucking wonder goal, beat 5-6 players, put it in the top corner, look ridiculous, but it's too infrequent. He'll do that once in 5 games and spend the remainder of the time being shouted at from everyone on the touchline. When we talk about attitude problems and work rate and stuff like that, you don't see the coaches having a go at anybody else on the team apart from Callum Gribbin. What does that tell you? That tells you everything, doesn't it? Like, a lot of the rest of the players, some fucking talented lads in there as well. There's high expectation of Callum, so I think that people are harder on him than they are on other players that they know probably aren't going to make it. There's a chance Callum could make it, and I think everyone is frustrated thinking, just fucking work, you little fucker. Because if he did have a little bit more work rate in him, who knows what could happen. Actually, it reminds me a lot of fucking Jadon. Jadon plays very similar. You fucking scream at him like, fucking work. Jadon walks around the pitch like Berbatov, annoys the fuck out of you, but then occasionally the ball comes to him. He's got a first touch like fucking God gave it him, and he's got a ping on him. Sometimes just doesn't work hard enough and you want to put him through a fucking wall. Callum Gribbin is exactly the same. Ricardo Co 12 says, I met Timbo early in the week and told him that him and Pogba would form a deadly midfield. He seemed excited. Do you think that a loan would be good for him, as he's still young and arguably too good for the 21s? He's definitely too good for the 21s. A loan move would be good if they was going to play him, and I would almost write in the contract that if he's not injured, he fucking plays 38 games or go fuck yourself. I hope he gets the opportunity. And I hope he gets the opportunity in midfield, not in centre-half, not at right-back, not even at left-back. He played at left-back a few times last season in the 21s. He's got to play in central midfield because he is a central midfielder in waiting. He's the next Brian Robson. He's fucking class. And I would not like to be fucking tackled by him. Will, in all capital letters, says, who do I think will be United's player of the year and what is my favourite takeaway? All of them. I don't know, actually. The missus likes curries, but I could take it or leave it with a curry. My go-to is probably Domino's, which is fucking daft in it because it's like 400 times more expensive than another pizza, and it's not that much nicer, really. Probably, I'm a go-to guy with pizza, to be honest. Not really massive keen on Chinese. I do like the all-you-can-eat, as I'm sure you can tell, but I prefer the all-you-can-eat because I like the buffet thing. I like a little bit of everything, but don't like one dish enough to really get in the mix with it. No one does a fucking all-you-can-eat takeaway, do they? I used Uber Eats when I was in London, and I got a Herman's the German hot dog bratwurst delivered, which was out of this fucking world. Actually, I did it for TFR Live. Not if you saw us eating them live on air. I don't know. Pizza's probably my go-to. Curry we have quite often because the missus prefers that over anything else. Get chippy occasionally because, as much as it's a cliche, it's fucking cheap as chips, isn't it? What's your favourite takeaway? In fact, throw it in the comments what your fucking favourite takeaway is. I'm going to wrap this up before 40 minutes, so we've got a minute and a half. This is probably the last one. Lewis Curley, 98, says, any update on when your McGregor-Diaz breakdown comes out? Probably Sunday. Probably going to try and edit it tomorrow and release it Sunday night after the match, but fucking face it, I probably won't be on time, so put Monday in your diary. I think we can get one more in. We've got a minute left. Bradley Smith, is it true Pogba is suspended for the first game of the season? Yes, he is. Damien Mannix 78 says, do you think the spending is now finished? Yes, I do. Shane says, do you think Nick Diaz should fight after coming back from this bullshit suspension? Who do I think? Fuck knows. He's got to get back in the mix in the rankings, hasn't he? Welterweight division is fucking stacked at the moment. Harry's 3 says, if I could go for dinner with 3 people dead or alive, why would you do this when I've got 40 seconds? Cantona, Stephen Fry, and Joe Rogan. How's that? Okay, now that was a good one. I've got it in the mix. So Robert SM says, which youth player should go out on loan? Probably Pereira. I want to keep Riley around for a right-back reserve spot because I think he could do well. JDC says, what player would you like most in the January market? Fucking hell, I don't know. Dino Mahoney says, did I get a look at the under-18s yet? No, I've not, but I'm hearing good things. Kalim says, who do I consider the worst? Who's the worst player that's considered a United legend? Wow. 40 minutes just ticked by. Fuck. That's a great question. Who's the worst player that's considered a United legend? Someone's going to get pissed off with this, aren't they? It depends where you draw the line with legends. Because I like to always say there's only one legend at the club and his name's Bobby Charlton. That's how high I want to set the bar, because legend should almost be unattainable. And a guy that has the leading appearances at one point, obviously before Giggs overtook him, the leading goals, still currently but probably going to get broken in the next month or two, the leading goals for his country at the time, obviously doesn't have it anymore, survives Munich, wins a Ballon d'Or, wins a World Cup, wins a European Cup. That guy should be considered a legend, and no one else comes anywhere fucking near that, do they? So that's the legend of Manchester United. But then you go, what about Georgie Best? And you go, alright, yeah, Georgie Best, yeah. And you go, what about Brian Robson? You go, yeah, Brian Robson, yeah. Brian Robson's in there too. What about Dennis Law? He won the Ballon d'Or, didn't he? Yeah, and European Cup winner. Yeah, Dennis Law's in there too. Alright, what about Ryan Giggs? Won 13 league titles. You're like, yeah, alright, fucking hell, Giggs is in there too. Where does it end? Where does it end? There needs to be some sort of ruthless line. There's too many people that are considered greats or icons that get labelled legends. If you want to say, you know, who were the if those who turn out for the legends team, generally not legends, are they? Really? Apart from Robbo. Andy Cole. Is he a legend? I fucking loved him as a player. Fucking unbelievable centre forward. Is he a legend? Is he a legend is one of the hardest quantifiable things in football. Someone can be a legend to you and is not a legend to me. Hard to quantify. Is Ronaldo a legend? Won a Ballon d'Or here, won a European Cup here, scored 42 goals in a season, and fucked off Madrid for the next 7 years. Is he a legend? Some will say yes, some will say fuck no, left us. It's subjective, isn't it? It's hard to quantify. That was too fucking good a question to finish on. The worst player that's considered a legend. In my head, I'm thinking like Solskjaer wasn't amazing, but was considered a legend because of the connection that he had with fans and also scoring the winner in 1999. But if you look at the expected goals and the goal impact of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, it was actually pretty fucking good. I don't know. We would need a definitive list of legends, and then we'd have to go through it and go, probably him. But until there's a definitive list of legends, then what can you say? Van der Gaal? He's played for the Legends team. Is he a fucking legend? He's got a Champions League medal, hasn't he? ZZ Fresh says, who would be my ideal central defender for United? Bonucci or Ashley Williams, who's now gone Everton? There's a couple kicking about, but there's not many. I want an older player. Zach Ishaki says, what's my opinion on the suspension of Pogba? Bullshit. Mickey P 3108 says, best advice to a young person wanting to become a sports journalist. Well, I'm not a sports journalist. I suppose I am, actually. Not with football, but with this. Work hard. Make contacts. Contacts is your currency. And don't be afraid to go after them, but only ever talk about things in certainties if they're certainties. You'll often see me say, I don't know, because I don't know. I will never really speak in certainties unless I know something is certain. You can't... You've got to pay attention to the laws of publishing. That's huge in terms of both copyright and also slander and libel. They're enormous. You've got to look into those. Get experience. The two things that you got to prove is, can you do the job? And the way you prove that is either you have a degree, which a lot of people have, but that's not everything. You also need the portfolio. Now, one of my mates is the top journalist in his field in a certain country, and he doesn't have a journalism qualification, but he is undoubtedly the top journalist in his field in a certain country. Head and shoulders. The most well known and also the best. Doesn't have a journalism qualification. What does he have? He's got a fucking phenomenal work ethic, a real easy way with people that he can just get on, and he's been offered and taken tons of jobs, got himself mega successful because he's a fucking grafter. And it'll come down to anything in life. If you work hard, you can get whatever the fuck you want, really. You need luck, but you get lucky if you work hard, don't you? I don't want to finish on that one, though. Let's finish on something else. There's a picture here. How long until we win the Champions League again? We're going to win it in December. It's hard to predict, isn't it? Because you can say we should be looking to win the league in 1 year, 2 years. But the Champions League, excuse me, burping, it's so hard to win. You can't put a time on it. Will, how you doing, mate? I'm sure we'll be seeing you next week on Friday. Because Januzaj on loan, do I think Ashley Young can get game time even though he's below Marshall and Memphis in a pecking order? And do I think Will Keane will still be at United when the transfer window closes? Will Keane, yeah, is probably a decent shout to keep her in and around as a backup because the guy just needs game time, doesn't he? Because he just gets injured. Ashley Young, game time. Fuck knows. I hope not, but maybe. Sam says, could Timothy Fosu-Mensah be as good as Pogba? Well, yeah. In terms of how good were they both at 18, not a lot between them. Not a lot between them. And I'd say physically, Fosu-Mensah's way ahead of what Pogba was at 18. Way ahead. Pogba's taller, but Fosu-Mensah is a fucking tank. This is going to be a 50-minute, isn't it? I want to get everyone's done. There's fucking loads of you. Look. We've gone for nearly an hour, and look at this. Oh. Look how many are still left to do. Fucking hell. Look at all those. How many scrolls am I now? 10, 12? There you go. That's how far back we've gone down to. So, I'm going to have to call it a day, because this is going to take now 2 hours to process at least. I'm going to have to start doing those on a podcast, aren't I? But I like showing you your shit on the screen. Let's just do the pictures now. Anyone who sent us a picture, let's throw these in. Let's finish it off on these. Opinions on all the lads that I've just left, essentially. Can't keep everyone. Sorry, that's a bit simple, innit? Jordan says, what player do you think is going to shine on Mourinho? I think Pogba could, to be honest. I'm looking forward to him. Ibby J says, best ground I've been to, excluding Old Trafford, and who will win the Champions League? Emirates is nice. The seats are huge. The seats are almost as big as the chair that I'm in now. And they come very high up your back. The Old Trafford seat's probably about as big as my iPad. Maybe that way around. Oh, it feels that big anyway. Wembley's pretty bitching. Stadium of Light's not bad. I don't like the corkscrew sort of effect that goes in on the top of it. But inside it's alright. St Mary's ain't bad. Goodison's a fucking dump and he's wooden. West Ham, the old West Ham ground was a dump. I'm looking forward to going to the new Olympic Stadium. That's a new one to tick off. I don't know. Jordan Hench 07 with another photo. All of these trophies. Do I think a Premier League player in the Ballon d'Or top 3? Who do I think will be the next Premier League player in the Ballon d'Or top 3? Pogba. I think he's already on that sort of radar. I think if a good season at United could probably elevate him into that. Probably needs Champions League football to do it though, so I wouldn't have thought it'd be this year. Last one, TR14. I won the league with this team plus Januzaj, Warren, etc. Thoughts? Can't see the team. Oh, he's got Ashley Williams as well. What a ledge. Oh, sorry, went off the screen. Right, I'm going to have to wrap it up there. I am so sorry to everyone who sent them in. And I didn't get to read them. I've done an hour. If I go over this, it doesn't upload. So I've done my best. Thank you once again to anyone who sent something in. Try and get it in sooner next time because I pretty much start from the bottom up. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, comment. Tell me your favourite takeaway in the comments below. Fucking season preview hopefully coming out tomorrow if I get a chance to edit it. And that'll fucking do, won't it? Nice one. See you in a bit.